In college football, yesterday's action. Ohio State proves that they need to move up in the polls to about number 3 as they beat Penn State, buying that Oregon's number 1 and Georgia's number 2. Or could Ohio State jump Georgia? See that happens, but I think in my world it should be number 1 Oregon, number 2 Georgia, and number 3 Ohio State, and number 4 Miami, and number 5 Texas, 6 Tennessee, 7 Notre Dame, Penn State right in the 8th spot. Or in the 7th spot. One of those two is where they should be, I think, for Penn State. Ohio State wins 20-13. Miami beats Duke. Surprise, number 5 and looking to move up against Duke. Miami stays undefeated at 8-0. 51-33 was the final. Minnesota gets the Illini, who suffers their 3rd loss and 2nd in a row. Are still a surprise team, but likely to drop out of the top 25 and not make the playoffs after losing that game. That was their last hope. Again, Minnesota beats Illinois 25-17. It's a loss at home for the Illini. Ole Miss beats Arkansas 63-31. Kansas State suffers a loss to Houston, upset 24-19. It was the first field goal by Houston to make it 3-0. To make it 10-3 after a field goal by the Cats, it was DJ Guidance to put it in, but a block extra point. Houston fumbled on its own 40, lost 5. Maybe they shouldn't have gone for it, but they did. A punt and a punt. A field goal. Kansas State is up on Houston 19-10. Kansas State would get it back. Avery Johnson would throw an INT. Touchdown the 4th by Houston 19-17. A punt and a punt, another INT, set up Houston. Houston would take the ball lead with one play of 43 yards with the straight back center snap. 24-19, Kansas would throw. Houston's running back would take it all the way for a 50-yard touchdown, 50-yard run touchdown by the quarterback. Houston now led 24-19. Kansas State would throw an INT, and that would hurt. Houston would get the ball back with 1:08, but Kansas State would use their timeouts and get the ball back. The Cats would have 46 seconds, but that was not enough time, as the Cats did not make the plays to get it in. They had a chance of a Hail Mary, 46, but it didn't get in. 24-19 is the final. Iowa State, perhaps the best team in the Big 12, lost yesterday to the Texas Tech Red Raiders. The Red Raiders brought their game in the first quarter, but by the second quarter at the half, the Cyclones led 13-10. In the third quarter, there wasn't much scoring except Texas Tech took the lead on a 19-yard pass to give the Raiders a lead 17-13. A field goal made it 17-16. Texas Tech, a missed field goal by the Cyclones would be an important outlet on the game. Iowa State would take the lead 22-17 over the Red Raiders. The Red Raiders, though, would get a touchdown, 1st and goal. With 20 seconds left on the game clock, 22-17 Red Raiders, and the Cyclones couldn't get their last hope in. The Cyclones are no longer undefeated. The Florida Gators in the Florida had it going in the first half against Georgia, 13-6. But maybe what Florida forgot about is how good Georgia is in the second half. A fumble-rooski on a field goal attempt would have gave the Gators a 30-point lead. Instead, it was tied at 13. Carson Beck threw a 20-yard touchdown to make it 20-13, but a touchdown by the Gators to keep them in it. But the Bulldogs would score the final 2 touchdowns and win it 34-20. Indiana keeps its season undefeated against Michigan State 47-10. Oregon wins over Michigan 38-17. Air Force loses to Army 20-3. The biggest story of the night was Texas A&M Aggies beat South Carolina Gamecocks. The Aggies had only lost one game this season. It was a big second half by the Gamecocks as they outscored them by 24 points. It was tied at halftime, but it was no longer at the end of the game, 44-20, as South Carolina beats up on Texas A&M. We'll see what happens with that. Kentucky led at the half over number 7 Tennessee, but number 7 Tennessee outscored them 21-8 in the second half to win 28-18 over Tennessee. Tennessee wins 28-18. Tennessee. It was not the game we hoped for at SMU. SMU beats undefeated Pittsburgh 48-25. Pittsburgh is no longer undefeated. SMU deletes Pittsburgh from the undefeated, beating them 48-25. Not the game we had hoped for. And Clemson beats up on Louisville 33-21 as Louisville had the command the whole game and would likely knock out Clemson for the playoffs. That's Sam on Sports.